This episode is brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. Learn more at slashandcast.net.
Welcome back to the Kill Dead Podcast. I'm your host, Grae, and tonight I'm joined by my internet co-host. We have Devin. We have Ash. Say what's up, everyone.
What's up, everyone?
Hello out there.
It's actually a false start because I will not be the host of the show tonight. Mr. Baldwin actually will be, so I'm going to shut up.
Oh, use my government name. Okay. Tonight we'll be discussing one of horror's greatest films, a movie that was critically adored and audiences loved across the board. I am, of course, talking Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Damn.
But before we get into Jason's New York shenanigans, Ash, what's been on your TV lately? What you been watching?
So, if you follow me on Twitter, I tweet about feeling like I've been neglecting my horror movies because Girlfriends have been on Netflix and I've been binge watching it.
Yo, me too.
But I have made some time to check out some movies. I checked out The Cleaning Lady, which is streaming on Prime. And that was an interesting film.
Hold up.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just remember I started that movie and never went back to it. That's the one with the mask?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I forgot all about it. Go ahead.
But yeah, my nice way of putting it, it's interesting. There's a high level of creep factor in it, so that's promising. I didn't like how it ended. Let's see. A couple nights ago, I revisited the remake of The House on Haunting Hill, and it's been almost like 10 years since I've last watched that movie.
Is that the one with Tay Diggs?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good movie, and then there's actually a sequel of it, but I've never finished that one. It's forgettable, but... But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been hitting up the Dollar Tree too and buying some sugar skull decorations because if you know me, I love sugar skulls.
What are sugar skulls?
Oh my gosh! So they use them for like Day of the Dead.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Like the skulls. Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm upset.
Candy.
Oh no. Oh, that would be cool though if they came out with the candy. There's probably like a sucker or something like that shaped as a sugar skull, but yeah, so. I'm literally obsessed with sugar skulls. I have one tattooed on my arm, and I just love them. So that's what I've been up to. What about you, Grae?
I haven't been. I've been binging a lot of shows. I just watched the Netflix show Away this weekend. I also watched the Hulu show Woke this weekend. Actually, I think that was just Monday. But, days blur together. Mm-hmm. But horror-wise, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this gem on Shudder. But I watched The Baby the other day for the first time. And I literally shuddered at some of the fucking scenes in this movie. I don't know how I never knew it existed, but this movie is for real disturbing. At a PG rating. The Baby.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That movie is batshit crazy, dude.
And to put the nail in the coffin, spoiler alert, if you guys aren't aware, skip ahead 15 seconds. The fucking twist at the end. Like, I wasn't expecting that at all. We can wrap up. We're done here. And I was like, oh, it gets worse. But anyway, so that took the cake. I don't think I've watched anything. I revisited Deadly Friend this morning, or I purchased Deadly Friend this morning and watched it. I love that movie. I don't know why no one has ever done a sequel to it. I think that it could have. Technology is now advanced. Like, I didn't like that BB's fucking vision was all blurred and shit. I thought that was just dumb. Why would a robot have blurred vision? But of course, it was 1986. No disrespect to Wes Craven or whoever was on that team, because the robot at the time, I thought that shit was badass. I remember watching that movie as a kid. It wasn't until I became an adult that I realized that Chrissy Swanson's character as the deceased is mimicking BB and her movements. So as an adult, I have a new profound respect for her performance that I once thought was dumb. Like, I was just like, why is she moving like that? She's just dead. But, you know, kid brain versus adult brain. Love the movie. I wish I watched it more.
Do you think that Chrissy Swanson's character, BB, her name is? Or Samantha, I'm sorry.
Samantha's her character name when she's alive. But
you think Samantha would be a Trump supporter now?
Whew, tough question. Yeah, because she definitely sympathizes with her abuser. So, telltale sign.
You can't see me, Grae, but I'm giving you a virtual high five.
So that's what I've been watching. I started Lovecraft Country, the book. I started Chainsaw Confidential, the book. And just catching up on podcasts. I'm very behind Dax Shepard. Damn, I don't know where that accent came from. Dax Shepard, Armchair Expert episode, and this is like a while back. Like I said, I'm catching up. Sheryl Crow episode was surprisingly delightful. Like, I knew very little of that woman's career other than she went on tour with Michael Jackson, and she was definitely in one of the videos that my grandmother used to play back in all the time. Like, that's when she came out with Island in the Sun or Something in the Sun, Sunshine in the Sun. Like, that's all I knew of her. I was like, oh, that's the girl from Michael Jackson. Or woman, because she was in her 30s, which I also didn't realize. So it was good stuff. I mean, I'm sure Dax interviews a lot of celebrities, and it's great for all types of people. So I'm not saying anything groundbreaking. I think at one point he had the #1 podcast in the world. So, of course, he's doing good shit. Yep.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he was that big. Okay, cool.
I think it's the format of the show. Of course, sometimes, I'm sure a lot of listeners like myself, unless you're traveling for work, you only listen to the celebrities you're aware of.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, one episode finishes and the next episode kicks in, and you're just like, actually, I want to get to know this person. It's fine.
Okay, I'm going to have to check out his podcast and see who I like. I like Dax Shepard, I think, sure. So I need to watch this, listen to a show.
Yeah, I think what his show does well, America doesn't need me to tell them this, is that he is okay with admitting his flaws in life through tons of therapy, AA, yada, 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 so that he's able to recognize things in the people he's interviewing as well. And some of it can become cathartic or therapeutic mid-interview. And I think that's the part that I like the most, is that, like, he's not like deliberately saying it's like, oh, you were exposed to this as a child, so of course you have daddy issues, like in your face. But it's like, hey, do you ever think that maybe like you doing that as a kid repeatedly led to your adult life of doing this? And then it just gives a more so organic thing versus like, yes, I researched you and I'm saying this and I'm saying this to impress you.
Interesting. So it's not the Joe Rogan experience. Perfect.
Yeah. No one's smoking dope on the show, period. And I just don't, for the record, get Joe Rogan. I know he has his fans. I know that he has a livelihood. I more power to him. He makes millions of dollars an episode. I think we make 2 cents an episode.
Yeah.
But to each your own. It's just not for me. That's all.
It's certainly not for me either. I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I've said too much between this episode and last episode. I don't want to get canceled. That's good. We started we typically start our aggressive Halloween or horror movie watching October 1st. But we kicked off spooky season earlier this year because, why not? It's 2020. And so, of course, you have to watch all of the Halloween movies. But what I'm going to do is, what I am doing is we decided to watch the Rob Zombie movies first, like as one collection. And then maybe this weekend, maybe next, we're going to watch the first Halloween and then Halloween 2018. And then throughout the month of October, watch, 2 through 8. I guess just in order.
I want to say I was talking to Bobby Torres with a Z. I thought I owned Rob Zombie's Halloween, but I only own H2. I don't know why I never bought the first disc. And this is before I had an opinion and taste, and I was just buying everything. But somehow I never did.
To be fair, you own the better one of the two, so
that's what I tend to think.
Yeah.
However, I didn't get a chance to buy the Scream Factory box set. You know what? Speaking of which, I know I told you guys on Slack that I was trying to get the Scarlet box. I lost out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I'll throw some money down. Fuck it. They're encouraging me. I'm just going to treat myself. And I was like, I think I put down my max bid was like $150. And then I got outbid. I was like, all right, I'm going to raise it to $175. And it just sat there. And I got the notification. It was like, all right, well, there's moments left in this. I was like, damn, I got this. And it's 10 seconds left. And I'm not the most well-rounded eBay person. I was like, I'm really $75 over what I wanted to pay, but it is sealed. So I feel like this is a good opportunity for me. Within 10 seconds, we get to 3 seconds. I get notified that I'm outbid. I'm like, fuck. I put it back in.
No.
I was like, raise it to 200. It ends. The shit in 3 seconds escalated to $250.
Wow.
I never had a chance. I wasn't even in the correct game to begin with. There are people that just know better.
Grae, I have good news for you.
Lay it on me.
I will leave you.
You're the person? Did you beat me?
No. I will leave you my Halloween box set in my will. It is all yours.
I will still want it then. I just want you to know. I will keep a replay.
We don't know what's going to happen in the next hour and a half. So, as far as I'm concerned, my Halloween box set is all yours.
I appreciate that. I really do.
I'll even throw in Halloween 2018 for good measure.
Aww.
That would make my collection that much greater.
And Ash,
yes.
You got both my copies of Friday the 13th Part 7.
Hey! I'll have a total of 4.
Okay, well, I will give you a Blu-ray version of Friday the 13th Part 8.
Hey.
Listen, act like...
He's an ass.
I mean, it's better than Goes to Hell, but...
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my collection right now, and I own 3 copies of 2018, and only one of them is open.
You got that still case version, right?
I do have a still case version.
Speaking of collections, is there a Texas Chainsaw box set?
No, I was actually looking at this, and I think it's because the property has waffled so much
Mm-hmm.
That there isn't one person that owns a majority of them.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if they were to release a box set. I would spend monies on that. I still need to order my Friday 13th one, but yeah. Anyways.
Ash, you need to get on that.
See, what had happened was
I'm
What had
literally
happened?
almost at the point of buying the version that's available now, just to have to sell later. Because this will disappear. It's like buying stock, except it's horror. And in case people listen at home have the same idea, I will complete this before this episode airs.
Man, we watched a movie called Bats the other night. Have you guys seen that?
yes.
With
Yes.
Blue Diamond Phillips.
Yes.
Yes.
So, granted, I was high as shit. I'll be fully transparent, but that movie was good. Good is a strong word. It was enjoyable. Let me say that. I wanted to see the sequel. That's how much I liked the movie.
I never knew it had a sequel. What's the sequel called?
Like Bats Harvest Moon or something like that. Let me look it up. It's not called Bats 2. There's like Bats in the subtitle.
Does it still take place in Texas?
I don't know, but I know none of the cast came back. They were all under contract to come back. It's called Bats Human Harvest, and it's a TV movie from 2007. So,
Oh, that could be why.
Fingers crossed that it's good. But the cast were contracted to come back, but like, you know, the expiration date on the contract ran out. So, but instead of Lou Diamond Phillips, we do have a Sir David Chokachi from TV's Baywatch. So there we go.
Hey.
You're being facetious. He's not really knighted, right? He's American.
No, he's fully American. Yeah, that boy is American. He's American as fuck.
No one from Baywatch needs to be knighted.
No, he's from Massachusetts. So
okay.
No, you know, I was actually watching. So when we're recording, I'm in my office, also my bedroom, and I usually have the TV playing in the background, obviously on mute with some old horror movie. And previously, I was watching Tammy and the T-Rex, right?
Hey.
Everybody else in the world may know this. This is just me, okay? But the title card on the movie calls her Tanny in the T-Rex. Tanny Tanny instead of Tammy Tammy. Did you guys ever notice that?
No.
Yeah, it's actually called Tanny with an N as a Nancy, and the T-Rex. And that's on the title card. And then also when they introduce Denise Richards, you know, her name, and they say her name is Tanny with an N. So just throwing it out there for you guys.
What do you think Tanny just wasn't popular enough at the time? Or Tammy wasn't popular? No. Yeah, Tanny. Why would you do that?
Yeah, an inept intern, maybe? I don't know. It was odd. No.
What's odd is Denise Richards almost looks the same in that movie as she does present day.
I mean, she paid enough to look the same, so I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at the work she's gotten done.
Y'all are wrong, because that's all natural. I'm just kidding.
About as natural as Paul Walker and that other kid holding each other's crotches.
Oh,
shoot!
Let's just squeeze dicks until one of us says we enjoy it.
That young Denise Richards will later have an affair with one of her Housewives co-stars, and then leave the show afterwards. Just
you know what? My girlfriend was trying to explain that to me, and I was just like, "So, what was she afraid of?" Like, in my mind, if you married and dated Charlie Sheen and survived, there's nothing you should be afraid of in life.
Basically,
nothing. Also, in my eyes, Charlie Sheen can do nothing else to surprise me or wrong. Like, I don't need to see news on him. Charlie Sheen joins KKK. Doesn't bother me. It's Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen and Kanye West have kind of fallen into the same category, right?
Uh-oh.
Like, they're two people I don't want to talk to, I don't want to see, I don't want to smell, I certainly don't have sex with, I don't want to listen to, you know?
I feel like Charlie Sheen could be more valuable to people than Kanye. I mean, he has survived cocaine, the 80s, and AIDS. Like,
And
we need to study that body.
I was going to make a Hot Shots Part 2 reference in there, too.
Please do.
Yeah. Yeah, Charlie Sheen. I cannot believe I used to think he was hot. All right.
You're not the only person in the world.
I never thought he was hot.
You did?
I never thought he was. I never found him attractive.
Not even in the 80s?
No, but his brother, Emilio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my guy.
I like someone who's not ashamed of their heritage. But Emilio was really hot in Breakfast Club as well.
He was.
We're just going to dump on Carlos like that, huh?
You know, he did take on the name of Carlos Estevez in the Machete Kills, which everybody saw naturally. But, oh well.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was obviously a Spanish-heavy film, so it's like...
It'd be weird if he didn't.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
In case people know what the joke is, Charlie Sheen is Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
For our listeners that weren't aware of that.
And it's funny.
Heritage.
Emilio Estevez and Martin Sheen, if you look at like a young Martin Sheen, like Apocalypse Now Martin Sheen, they could have been twins. I know it's his son, but they look like the spitting image of each other.
Martin's name is Ramon. I remember that.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, he's got one of those authentic, like, 5-piece names.
Oh, wow.
Ramon's the first part, for sure.
Go off. Okay.
And also, I want people listening at home, I didn't mean any disrespect by that. I'm just saying, like, it's a longer or more traditional even. I don't know what the proper vernacular is, so I do apologize. But,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to stop talking.
He's still alive, right?
Yes.
Martin Sheen, yes.
Okay, good. Do we have any horror news for today?
Yes, we do.
I'm listening.
All right, first let me do some birthday shout outs. So today is September 17th, and we have 2 special birthdays today. Turning 62, we have Jennifer Tilly, which I am still in shock that she is 62 years old.
Excuse me, Jennifer Tilly? Wait a minute. You mean from Bride of Chucky, Jennifer Tilly?
Yes.
Whoa.
62 years old, and she looks amazing.
Milk does a body good. Damn.
It has to be the half Asian in her.
I thought Homegirl was like 43. Not even kidding.
No, not even Meg, her twin sister, is that young.
Wow.
But yes, and following, we have Cassandra Peterson, a.k.a. Elvira herself, turning 69. Looking phenomenal, too.
Woo-hoo.
Damn. I can't even speak. I've heard rumors. I've never seen her at a convention, but
amazing.
She does not go directly into sunlight. She carries an umbrella or covers her body. And she says that is part of her beauty secret. And I don't know if that's true. I've never physically seen her say that, but if it is true, that it's worked. Because Elvira today looks almost spitting image of Elvira in 1988 or whatever year I discovered her.
I spent $100 to get my picture taken with her dressed as Elvira, and I look like shit, but she looks amazing. But yeah.
Even today, me taking a photo, I would say the same thing.
Right. But some other news. Our guy, Jonathan Majors, has been cast as a new Marvel villain in the upcoming Ant-Man film.
Kang the Conqueror.
Yes.
Big booty Jonathan Majors.
Yes. Beautiful
Which
man.
will be interesting if you want me to nerd out on you for a little bit. So,
Nerd out.
if you guys don't know this, Ant-Man has had two different treatments. One written by Paul Rudd and one written by the studio. One introduces the Fantastic Four into Marvel, or mutants into the Marvel universe. In which Kang the Conqueror is Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic's long descendant in the future. Kang the Conqueror is the villain of time, basically. So there are multiple versions of him throughout the Marvel universe because he's mastered time travel. And it makes sense for him to interact with Ant-Man because Ant-Man just went into the quantum realm to reset everything in Endgame. So that would have put Ant-Man on Kang's radar, so to speak. I have not seen a script or anything like that. I'm just rounding it together for you all. And then the other version, which will be interesting to see how they would handle it, would introduce the Young Avengers, in which Kang the Conqueror, a different version of him, is Iron Lad, which would make him the replacement for Iron Man. However, Iron Lad is younger, so, Young Avengers. So it'll be interesting to see if they would have two different versions of Kang on screen at the same time to, better inlay the multiverse as well as the duality of the character interacting with itself, which I think Jonathan Majors is completely capable of.
That sounds so complicated, but it's like me explaining, I don't know, the Halloween timeline to someone who's never watched Halloween. But it's interesting though. So Jonathan Majors, like the character that he plays, is a time traveler, and so they can kind of fit him into different stories, from what you're saying, right?
Yeah, they can fit him anywhere because there's, in the comics, hundreds of versions of him. Where he lives, which has been featured in an Avengers movie, is a dome place in each neighborhood intersects with a different timeline. So, like, he populates this whole area, and, it might go, this version of him goes to 1976 or 1973, where the Pym particles are that allowed Ant-Man to travel. So he could go all the way back there to try and stop Ant-Man or Iron Man, really, from taking the Pym particles and then bring Thanos back just to fuck with people.
Ooh.
You know what's interesting about that is, and I'm sure this was not a motivation in casting Jonathan Majors in this role, but if this is a character who can sort of time travel, and there's different versions of him. Let's just say he does a couple of movies, and I don't know, he asks for $39 million for the next one. They can easily recast him, and it wouldn't really hurt the story. Or did I get that wrong?
No, that's very true. But it also allows him to be able to keep going. Because let's say he's introducing Ant-Man and they defeat him, a different Kang can still come back and fight the Young Avengers. And that's how you introduce Iron Lad. He comes back as Iron Lad to fight the Young Avengers, or that's why the Young Avengers assemble, and then they change his heart and he later joins them. I believe Kate Bishop, who would be Hawkeye's daughter, would be the leader of the group, and then we'll see how it goes if Iron Lad took over. But there's multiple possibilities of how you would keep Jonathan in the franchise, because even if one version of him dies, he can come back as a different version. He has the duality. He can come back as good or evil. And there's only been so many people that have gone against him, like Cable, which we've seen in Deadpool, which now Disney owns. So it could bring Cable back. It could keep Doctor Strange in it longer because he can manipulate time. as well as the Young Avengers could assemble to defeat him. So there's so many possibilities of just introducing him as the next supervillain that really could solidify Jonathan Majors as long, or it could, as long as he wants to keep involved in the franchise.
I like that. Go off, Jonathan Majors.
As well as it could open a door to bring Robert Downey Jr. back. Because at some point, I forget the comics, but Tony Stark does become the Conqueror at one point.
Is that's the villain, right?
Tony Stark, Iron Man?
No, the Conqueror.
Oh, King the Conqueror, yes, is the villain. But at one point, Iron Man or Tony Stark does become King the Conqueror. Or it takes on that mantle. No different than Shuri taking on the Black Panther mantle. Or Falcon taking Captain American mantle. Those things get passed on to different people in different iterations. Like I said, before Chadwick Boseman's untimely death, I thought it would be great if Shuri took the mantle on, which was going to happen regardless, like hands down. But they still had the marriage between Storm and the Black Panther, except Shuri is the Black Panther. So then we get our first official gay couple, married gay couple.
I want it.
It would be nice. I mean, I don't work at Disney, and I don't really have say-so, but I think it would be, if we have an opportunity for representation, let's go for it. And bring back Alexandra Shipp. She can still be Storm. Her and Shuri should be around the same age.
I actually like her playing Storm, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what contracts say. It may not be that easy. It could be like, yes, you have the characters, but you can't have any of the actors. And, that's just Fox power move.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope they treat their actors better than DC treats their actors based on Ray Fisher's situation.
I even, what's that? Jason Momoa. I saw him add to or co-sign Ray's experience, and that he even had the same issues. And I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, instead of Kiersey Clemens, I guess she was in Justice League, but all of her scenes got cut. But she co-signed on his as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. Okay, well, any more horror news?
I have plenty, so I'm just going to leave it off with this one. We are finally getting some more Thanksgiving horror. It's just been announced that there's going to be a retro-style slasher Thanksgiving-themed horror movie coming out. It's having its premiere at the Salem Horror Fest in October, and it's called The Last Thanksgiving. And a little synopsis is a family of cannibalistic pilgrims attack a restaurant that stays open for Thanksgiving. So,
is it never mind.
Is it a what?
Nothing. That's an off character.
But yeah, it's the writer and director is Eric Lorink. Sorry if I butcher your last name if you're listening. But yeah, it was just announced like an hour and a half ago. So I was like, oh snap, let me write that down. Because we barely get any Thanksgiving horror. Eli Roth, I am still waiting for that movie to be dropped. But yeah, I'm just going to end it with that.
I'm looking for, I think we need more holiday horror that goes outside of Halloween and Christmas. Like, we need more, like you said, Ash, we need more Thanksgiving horror. We have, Blood Range and Thanksgiving are the two big ones that come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love a nice, another New Year's Eve horror movie, or something that takes place Memorial Day, or I don't know, Martin Luther King Day. I don't know. That would be kind of problematic, but you know what I mean. Oh gosh,
Give me a
Juneteenth?
Tales from the Hood entry on Juneteenth.
Ooh.
I went there.
Maybe that's in the third one.
Yeah. Let's yeah. I don't want to say anything rude. I'm trying to be polite.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah.
Directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
gosh. Oh my
Where's
gosh.
my wine?
You know what? I think this edible is just now kicking in. So, all right. So here we're here to discuss Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Came out in 1989. It is, of course, the seventh sequel in the Friday the 13th series. It is also notoriously the final film produced by Paramount before they sold the rights to New Line Cinema in the 90s. This story, if you're listening to this podcast, I have an idea you know what the movie is about, but per IMDb, a boat full of graduating high school students headed to Manhattan accidentally pulled Jason Voorhees along for the ride. So I'm going to start with you, Grae, first. Ash, you're welcome. Grae, what's a good, what's your interpretation of the synopsis for this movie?
Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, is a treat. A treat. It is the first entry in the franchise where we have Jason resurrected through electricity and fantasy, in which a class of graduating 75 people all of a sudden die on a boat, leaving 3 or 4 people to survive. A houseboat that has a nightclub in it. A weight room, a boxing ring. But like I said, fantasy. Only to bring Jason via Crystal Lake to Manhattan. You guys figure that one out for yourselves. And I don't know, Jason hates the climate there, so he's profusely sweating the whole time and always wet, only to drown and revert to his childhood self.
There you go. That is the movie right there, y'all. That's
right.
Ash.
He got me beat.
I can't stand Grae. Ash, what's your interpretation of the movie?
It's definitely not that. He got me beat. But
he got me beat too. I got like one sentence.
I just said, after being shocked back to life by a random cable, Jason decides to take a well-deserved vacation, slashing his way through the hearts of high school seniors and wreaking havoc in the grimy city itself, New York, aka Manhattan.
I mean, you're not wrong at all. Like, that is also very accurate. Oh, you guys. Yeah, mine is shit. I just said, basically, they ran out of ideas, and so Jason's now going to New York for more victims. That's all I got.
There you go.
Oh, man. So
very true.
Yeah. So overall, like, this is the 8th film in this franchise, and I don't have any evidence to back this up, but I feel confident in saying this is the first Part 8 of a franchise, not the 8th installment, because the James Bond films aren't technically sequels in the same regard these films are, but I feel like this is the first Part 8 of a franchise. What do you guys feel? How do you guys think this movie ranks in terms of the franchise? Is it like in the better half, or like the lower half, or somewhere in the middle?
Lower.
You want to think about it more, Ash? You want to put more thought into it?
Lower.
What are you, Grae?
I don't know. Someone is singing slave hymnals through my wall right now. I don't know if the mic's going to pick that up.
Wait, what?
I don't. What? Are they watching like Antebellum or something?
I don't. Oh, could be. But I'm sorry.
You need me to come get you?
Maybe I'm like, do I need sage? Someone is sad over there. Compared to, are we talking just the Paramount entries, or are we talking about New Line as well?
All of it, the whole enchilada.
Sorry. Oh, I love that. I love it.
For me, this is a stronger entry. Asterisk. Only because it brings Jason Voorhees into our timeline, so to speak, because it is 1989 and obviously it's 2020 now. But it makes Crystal Lake part of America through teleportation.
What do you mean by that?
We've never had a single horror movie, fans correct me if I'm wrong on Twitter, that has taken place in a major city with major landmarks that proves that it is the city that we say it's operating in.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Like, yes, a vast majority of this film was shot in Canada. However,
you can tell.
Even the parts of Times Square that they made up, like, one thing, I don't even know why, but as a kid, never have been to New York in my life. But I've been to DC, and the scene where is it Susie? Damn, I should know this. Jim and Susie?
Yeah, Jim and Susie.
Okay, the moment they hit 42nd Ave, Times Square, and they're walking around looking, and then Jason comes out from the subway, I realized that there's air grates there, or exhaust fan or grates in the ground. So the little spot that they're coming up, or the subway exit that they're getting out of, doesn't exist. Because there's no way the exhaust would be next to an escalator. And that just always stuck out to me. It's just like, what is going on there that doesn't make sense? That couldn't be there.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Rennie and Sean. Sorry.
Who?
Rennie and Sean.
Oh,
Jim and Susie are the two on the boat in the beginning.
Oh, fucking Jim. There's a serial killer. I'm just going to show him my O face.
Yeah. I think that was the first time I ever saw a movie where he killed Susie. That was the first time I think I ever rooted for the killer. Like, just kill her. She was annoying. She had played. Just kill her. I'm over it.
That scream, though. Oh,
she could have ran. She could have got out of that situation.
Like, even Tara Reid screamed better than that.
Are you disrespecting the name of Tara Reid on the Kill the Dead podcast?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
But Jim was cute.
He was. Yeah, I actually, in my ranking I did on the website, INaturejesse.com, I actually ranked him as the cutest guy in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
This is years ago, though.
As an adult, I've been in New York and realized that they didn't shoot a lot of scenes in New York. Mm-hmm. And then after watching the DVD, of course, or not the DVD, the documentary, you realize it's because of budget constraints.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too? I'm kind of piggybacking off you, Grae. Is this film? You know, it I'm using air quotes. It takes place in New York, and the biggest criticism of this movie is the fact that it's not in New York. This is obviously Vancouver, but like for the short time they actually did film in New York, it was actually great. Like that the Times Square sign with the big Coca-Cola sign, like that was great. And that New York no longer exists. That is like a New York that died probably with this movie. Thank you, gentrification. But whatever. I think for me, this is definitely on the bottom of the totem pole, but it's certainly not the worst. It's the most. tame, I think, and the most bloodless, I think, in a series. Next, to probably part 7. And it's a funny thing. I actually remember when this movie came out, and it got really mixed reviews, like any slasher film. But the positive reviews that came from critics were they were actually happy that this film wasn't as bloody and gore and intensive as the other films were. And I'm like, well, you guys are missing the point of the Friday the 13th series. It's still not the worst for me. This is also the second time Kane Hodder has played Jason. He will play him for 2 more films. What did you guys think of Kane Hodder's performance in the movie? Like, how does he rank as a Jason against all the other Jasons to you guys?
I like that. I think it's hard for me to judge him on this performance. This is the most impressionable performance, just mainly because it's New York. But I think that New York is more so the character than Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that, but I also know the behind-the-scenes fact of Kane Hodder said this is his best time as Jason.
Oh.
Best role as Jason. Like, he loved being Jason in Times Square and, like, doing shit and just having people, like, crowd of fans watching his performance and them reacting to him in full Jason makeup, just, like, looking at them.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, like, I compare it to, like, Jason Goes to Hell, where he's not really in it, and he low-key plays Freddy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jason X, I'm biased about, because that's definitely one of my favorite Friday 13th. I would honestly say it would go the full catalog, part 3, part 2, then Jason X.
Part 3 is your favorite? Like,
yeah,
favorite Friday movie or favorite Jason movie? Portrait?
Favorite Jason.
Okay.
Like, I like Hillbilly Jason in part 2,
mm-hmm.
but, like, that's not intentional. Like, obviously they didn't know where they were going with the franchise. But I enjoy the performance.
Yeah.
How about you,
Ash?
Well, y'all know I love me some Kane Hodder. So I really do. He's my favorite. So I mean, I like even though I like part 7, I do like him a little better as Jason in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot, was it an interview that he was talking about how he was doing a kill scene with, was it Eva on the dance floor?
Right.
And he was talking about how, like, he just actually felt bad because he felt like he was hurting her, but she was just like, no, like, you go ahead, do it. And, like, he just, like, threw her on the ground. I'm like, oh. But I enjoy that. But, yeah, I love Kane Hodder, but I also love Richard Brooker
mm-hmm.
as Jason. That's, like, he's my second favorite, but...
From part 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not like Kane Hodder's performance because he did give Jason a certain personality that I think was missing. I think my favorite Jason is actually Ted White, who played him in part 4. And pretty much for the same reason you guys like Richard Brooker. I like human Jason. I like I liked when he could run and he could, express more human emotion, just with his heavy breathing and everything. Like, he was legitimately terrifying. Now, in terms of zombie Jason, of course, Kane Hodder got it. And I think Kane Hodder did a wonderful job making zombie Jason seem like a real threat. I also want to give a huge shout out to Derek Mears, who played Jason in the reboot, 2009 reboot. Script aside, I thought he was an excellent Jason.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. because Friday the 13th, Part 8, is the only time in the franchise where we have two Jason Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Kurtzinger, who is the cook in one of the third act chase scenes in the deli, or diner, went on to play Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yep. And he also played Jason in this movie as well in a couple of like uncredited scenes. And Kane Hodder found out after the film came out. He was understandably a little pissed off. I get it.
Right.
I'm curious as to what their relationship is like. I want the details. Get at me, y'all.
Right. I also feel like
outsider looking. Nope. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I also feel like with Kane's portrayal of Jason in this film, it was kind of like Jason just like gave zero fucks. Like with the whole scene in the diner, and he's like looking at the waitress like, "Bitch, try me. I'll let you live, but just know that I'm legit. I'm real."
Yeah.
So it was a little comedic. He had like a little comedic timing in the film.
He was rude in this movie.
I think that Kane Hodder is just a victim of the studio not wanting to pay him his due. Because he talks about Ken, and Ken was his protege at the time. So like having the person you're mentoring fill in for you isn't normally an insult. However, if you look at the way they did him for Freddy versus Jason, like they told him the film was happening and never gave him a phone call, as far as reports say. And then just excluded him, which only bring this up because this film was supposed to continue Tina's story from Part 7, New Blood, except for the studios didn't want to pay Lar Park Lincoln whatever she was asking to reprise her role. So it's definitely a Paramount doing of screwing over people legacy or longevity in the franchise.
I wonder what that movie would have looked like with bringing Lara Lincoln back, because outside of Tommy Jarvis, none of the characters have really transitioned over to the next film in a significant way in these films. So it would have been interesting to see the lead from Part 7 become lead in Part 8.
And Tommy Jarvis only really translates in Namesake.
Right, because those are three different actors, three different performances, and three very different interpretations of that character.
And it sounds to me like it could, except for Corey Feldman, who was just busy doing the Goonies. Thank you. It seems like money was the thing. It's like, oh no, we'll just recast him. It's the 80s. Fuck them.
Because I know there were reports that Amy Steele, there was a script written for Amy Steele to return on Friday 3, and she didn't want to get typecast, so they obviously went the script they went with. There were reports that oh my gosh, I forget her name. Melanie Kinnaman from Part 5. And I think Shavar Ross as well. They were gonna continue in Friday 6. But they
Reggie the Reckless?
Yep. But they went with a different direction. So the people behind this movie are cheap when it comes to paying their actors their due. But at the same time, we've also gotten Friday series that we know and love. So who knows? Maybe it'll all turn out for the best.
With that being said, I think that it definitely is a thing because we do have Never Hike Alone, and then the soon sequel Never Hike Alone in Snow, where, and I don't know his name offhand, but the person that's playing Jason in that film is doing a great job. And that's just a fan that just likes doing it. I don't know how much money these kids are making, but and to your point, Jenny has returned, or Amy Steele has returned, hold on, am I remembering this right? Adrian King and Amy Steele were working on a fan film, maybe at the turn of the 2010s. That's not the turn of the century. I don't know what you call
it. The tens.
The tens. So, like, there's interest from people who are the survivors, and the studios just don't want to pay them their due, which is a little fucked up.
Yeah, I have conflicting. So Vincent DeSanti plays Jason in the Never Hike Alone movies. I have conflicted feelings because I have thought about, like, what if they were to make a film that brought back the survivors like Jenny and Tommy Jarvis and Tina, and they battle Jason? Would that create too much of a different, I don't know, create a totally different look for the movie, for the franchise? Would it invite too much of a mythology that would take away from what we love about the franchise? Should we just continue to have Jason kill, random people in the woods? I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Like, should they continue the stories with existing characters? Do you think it'll go for?
So with that, I actually wrote that down as one of my possibilities for a next film. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that. I also feel like it would be a cool idea if they did a film with all so going back to the first film with all the counselors that was at the camp when Jason was a boy that drowned. They're their family members, probably their great or great grandkids are camp counselors, and it's them going through the same crap.
Yeah,
them, just a whole new generation of camp counselors who just happen to be descendants of the counselors that let Jason drown in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And then
to
filling the wrath.
Off of what you're saying, I would like to go further into how did Jason survive the drowning or deal with the devil or became a zombie, deadite, whatever it is. Someone actually defined that mythology to where he keeps coming back to avenge.
And who will be the right person to bring that to life? That's going to have to be a good... Someone's going to have to write the hell out of that story.
I actually have a really dope idea, but I'm going to tell you guys offline, because I swear to goodness, if this idea gets picked up and turned into a movie and I don't get 10% commission, I'm going to be pissed.
Okay. As to answer your question, I think Ari Aster. Mm-hmm. He understands writing about pain and suffering in a family dynamic and showing the true everyday horror versus, slasher horror.
Right. I agree. I can see
Written
that.
by him, directed by someone differently. Because you still need to execute the horror notes well.
Maybe Nia DaCosta?
Yeah, I would love to be able to tell you definitively yes, but now that I've seen Candyman and won't see Candyman for whatever,
I'm so pissed.
That's not I wouldn't. Nia DaCosta is not a great director or anything like that, but I don't have enough of her work to compare whether she should take over the franchise or keep doing what she's doing, possibly with Candyman.
Oh my gosh. You know who I think would be a great director? Would be Vincent DeSanti. I didn't realize not only did he play Jason in Never Hike Alone, he also wrote and directed the movies. So, yeah.
That's a good one.
I kind of like that because Never Hike Alone, at least on my radar, is the first fan-made film that fans love. So why not give it the Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X treatment of a film made by fans?
Yeah. I mean, and it's better than the movie we're discussing tonight. So, may as well.
If we were to continue with the Friday 13th, should we ignore Jason X?
No.
Or
Never.
No, I like the fact that it's a thing.
we're just going to ignore this film and just go off of this one.
They can ignore
Every
Jason
horror
Goes to Hell.
franchise should go to space. Every single one of them.
Even Halloween.
If you can give me a reason why Michael needed to go up there, yes.
Would we ignore Jason Goes to Hell in this, Ash?
Hell, Jason Goes to Hell needs to go to hell. So
Yeah.
I don't.
That movie. I mean, oh, so do either of you like Jason Goes to Hell?
No, but
Okay.
my best friend, I'm putting you on blast. That is his number one of the whole franchise.
What?
I take it he's not a horror fan.
I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinions and likes and all that stuff, but that's
sucks.
too much.
Yeah.
I would need him to love himself. Like,
well, I asked because I think one of the best things that came out of Jason Goes to Hell is Creighton Duke. And the character was so strong. And I know there was talk of doing a spinoff with him not that long ago, actually. And I think if Jason Goes to Hell had been received better or had a better box office, I think there would have been more talk surrounding that character because he really stood out. And it's hard to take a character, in one of these Jason films and go against Jason and be just as popular as Jason. And I truly think that's what Creighton Duke is. If 2020 did not bring the Corona bitch around, I would have dressed up as Creighton Duke myself for Halloween this year. But they've canceled Halloween here in California, so we'll see for 2021.
Aww.
I know. So what was the most memorable most memorable kill to you guys?
Julius.
Hands down, Julius.
Yeah, when I think of this film, I think of that kill.
What happened in this kill, Ash?
Well, Julius, he's the high school boxer. He's the best boxer in the school, and he encounters Jason. He goes up the ladder up to the roof of a building, and Jason follows him, and he's like, you know what? I'm about to do some punches on him. I'm about to show him what I got. Punches here and there, left, right, left hook, all that stuff. And he's all worn out. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to use my last few breaths and be like, show me what you got. He should have done that because you know what happens? Jason's like, okay, I'll bring you all what I got. Bing! Knock his head off. One punch.
Literally.
But yeah. I like that whole scene. I'm sorry.
That was a fun scene. And you're right. It is the standout in the movie. And, no blood. Sure. No blood whatsoever. But it was a fun kill. And that was yours, Grae?
Yeah. Hands down, it's mine. It's the only character that has ever gone toe-to-toe. Although Jason was obviously a fan of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Where he's just I'm gonna let this motherfucker wear himself out. And it's great to actually see by this time, 1989, this was my second African American character that wasn't scared of the slasher. So there's great representation there. Is that even though there was no chance he was ever gonna win, he was I'm going to face my fear. And I'm sure that wasn't a conscious decision, but it still worked out well.
Yeah.
Actually, I think both films came out at the same time. Nightmare and Friday the 13th, I think, came out the same year. Someone can fact check me later.
Wait a minute, which films?
Dream Child.
Dream Child came out in '89. Yep, and Jason Takes Manhattan came out, and actually came out a month apart. Because I believe Friday came out like in July, and Nightmare came out August 11th. Don't ask me how I know that.
I don't know when Friday 13th came out, but you're right about Nightmare.
So I gotta ask, because I went to school. I was born and raised in Detroit, so I don't know what other areas are like. Did you guys have boxing as a curriculum in your high school?
Oh no.
We had wrestling, but not boxing. I know that's different, but still.
Yeah, just wondering how typical that was. Have you guys gone to senior trip when you were in high school?
Nope.
Not sanctioned by the school, but yeah.
But not sanctioned by the school. What did you guys end up doing?
It's just called Beach Week. So I grew up in Richmond. We head down to Myrtle Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I know kids today might go somewhere better. However, this is the 90s, y'all. So we went to Myrtle Beach. And there was also senior skip day. I think we went to Rehoboth Beach for senior skip day. Nothing as elaborate as this. I remember, I want to say band, orchestra, or choir got to go to New York for a trip. And that was it.
Yeah. I know my senior class, we didn't have like the senior trip, but we had like a senior day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like when we went around the cars, like did a car parade and had like a senior picnic on a football field and just like enjoy each other's company. And just like with Grae's school, the choir kids had a chance to go to Disney World. But I wasn't, but I wasn't part of choir. I was a theater kid, so I missed out on that. But yeah.
Yeah, our school, it was a fairly large school, so they definitely would not have like sanctioned a senior trip. But I think like with you guys, like individual like clubs had their own trips planned. But I know there was like this unofficial senior trip. They went skiing somewhere popular. I was not amongst the popular group, so I didn't go. I think for me, one of my most favorite kills was actually Eva's murder, played by Kelly Hu, or in the nightclub scene. I think it was just a combination of, you see Jason plus all the disco lights, and the camera was operating in a different way, and then he just jumps up. And also, this is the first time that I'm aware of that Jason was fairly I don't know, like telekinetic or whatever. He can or teleport. He can teleport. So just him jumping was a bit surprising.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my second favorite. Always thought that maybe she was high, so that's why she was like hallucinating.
Yeah, and that's what I always chalked it up to. And then, but you see him sort of teleporting in other scenes. But in that particular scene, yeah, it definitely played into her being high off coke, because it's the '80s. Where do you guys see? Where could you guys have seen this series going based on this movie? Well, let's say this movie was actually successful and Paramount continued to make movies. Where do we see Jason Part 9
going? Maybe he goes to a beach. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question, because I know I always thought about what happens after the end of a movie, like the end of a Friday 13th movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what can happen next? But I don't know. After this one, I don't know.
Yeah, like where they go now? Yeah.
Because Jason's all the way up in Manhattan, so how would his body go back to Crystal Lake unless it floats down the sewer system and all that? Or maybe his remains disintegrated into the water, and the water got pumped out and people are drinking it. I don't know.
Well, let's explore that for a second, because it's supposed to be toxic waste that floods the sewer lines, which doesn't even make sense as a general practice. What happens to anyone, period, that's exposed to that?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And maybe that's the crossover.
Which came out next year, the following year, by New Line Cinema.
In New York City.
Yeah, Ash is on to something.
10%.
I know there was a script commission for a Jason Takes LA for the follow-up. I don't know if the script actually got finished or whatever happened to it, but I know that was a thing. So how he got there is beyond me, but whatever. I was always confused to how Jason. I never understood because these kids go to Camp Crystal High, right, which is in New Jersey, but they take a cruise to New York. Living in New Jersey and knowing you can get to New York by car with a half hour, it always seemed a bit odd to me. But Grae, you're still in that part of the country, and you're better with geography than me. Is this a possibility that you would take a cruise from Jersey to New York?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. I think it's one of those things where they were just like, fuck it.
The Muppets did it?
I don't know at what point this happened. So this is just, at this point, pure Grae theory is that there were so many scenes proposed to be shot in New York City and they got dumbed down to what we got in the film. Like even Julius's scene was supposed to take place in Madison Square Garden. And they just didn't have the budget for it. So the boxing fight should have been in a typical boxing arena at that time, which really just ended up on a rooftop somewhere in Vancouver. So a lot of things got nixed, as well as, the thought behind it. I think it just turned into, let's just get this done.
I would have loved to see that movie where Jason really was at Madison Square Garden and the Brooklyn Bridge, because I feel like it would have been so over the top that this would have been the campiest film in the entire series. But we'll see. All right, we're getting to the end of the line, guys. So I want to ask you, marry, shag, or kill. You ready? Julius?
I'm ready.
I just started. Julius, Renee, or Tamara?
Which one was Renee?
Renee was the lead girl.
Oh, Rennie.
Rennie. I'm sorry. She wasn't. She was kind of bland, so I just made up my own name.
Sorry.
And then Tamara.
The prom queen.
And the vixen.
Alright. Who wants to go first?
Ash.
I will kill Rennie, marry Julius, and shag Tamara.
Wow.
I would kill Tamara, fuck Julius, and marry Rennie.
Wow. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. I would definitely kill Tamara.
You said you don't know what you want to do, but you were hard set.
You know what? I changed my mind. I would actually kill Rennie, and I would fuck Tamara, and I would marry Julius.
Twin.
Because Rennie was just boring. It's nothing against the actress. It's just, what am I grabbing onto? What am I rooting for? So
I think that someone's gonna put up with whatever and see it through to the end. That's why I would marry her. I guess I didn't give explanations. My fault.
Julius is he's husband material. I think he is. And Tamara, well, she's DTF. So nighttime is the right time. So all right. Well, actually, before I go, Ashley, you may appreciate this because I feel like you've watched Riverdale.
Not anymore. I stopped after halfway through the second season.
Like a sane person, right? So, Sheriff Keller on there?
Yes.
He's in this movie. He plays Wayne. He's the guy with the glasses who's in love with Tamara.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Mind blown.
Mind blown, right? And did you guys also know that Elizabeth Berkley was up for the role of Rennie as well?
And Pamela Anderson.
I knew about Elizabeth, did not know about Pamela, but it makes sense because that's Canada.
Why did they choose Pamela Anderson? I mean, because I feel like for this type of movie, that was a major goal. Even I know this is pre-Baywatch, but maybe she gave a bad audition. All right, whatever.
But given Bob Wire, I think Pamela could have been a great fit. Although maybe it's because Rennie doesn't actually expose herself in any way, shape, or form. Like she might as well be. Never mind.
A nun?
Nope. I said never mind.
Oh,
I'm gonna take the high road.
Tell me offline. I want to hear it.
Me too.
All right.
Someone who celebrates Rumstringa. Oh, was that a deep cut?
Yeah, that's a huge deep cut.
The Amish.
Oh, she looks Amish. Oh, I get it. Okay. Well, they're not listening to this, Grae. So.
Electricity. You're right.
I don't think they'll be able to listen to this. All right, well, this is fun, guys. There you have it. We have discussed Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Let us know what you think. Ash, where can the people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ash to Ashes. That's Ash with the X in the middle, Ashes.
Yay. And then, Grae, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Grae himself. That is Grae himself on Twitter and Instagram.
Yay. Is there
Devin?
Well, you can find me at ineedyouJesse.com. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at ineedyouJesse, as well as on Something Ghoulish. Well, you will find an article.
See, there
music
it is.
By Ash. All right, that's all I got. Have a good night.
Is there not a supporting article to go with this?
Oh, yes. Oh, for some reason I thought I mentioned that. Yep, there is a supporting article for this episode that you can find on Something Ghoulish by the time this episode is released. And you'll also be able to find it on ineedyouJesse.com as well.
And if you guys aren't aware, we are now on Discord. There will be a link in the description notes. Please join us. Isaac Thorne, I'm talking to you. Thank you for all the love on Twitter. Much appreciated. Love to chat with you on Discord. As well as anyone else listening, the invite's down there. Please join us. We're planning a stream Aganza, October 30th. Be there or I'll be back.
Join us.
I wasn't ready.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.